Heyo everyone, my name is still Malishka, and this is still the Inhabit the Chasm world. But today, we're breaking away from the chasm to do some important administrative type work for our server. Today, I'm going to be setting up the spawn area to be a welcoming spot for our members. At the moment, it's all plains, hills, and water puddles, but we're going to turn it from plain to, well, less plain anyways. We'll be chilling out in creative mode, as the design I have in mind does not match with the supply of materials I have to hand yet. But we need to get this together in order to welcome my little guy and a few of our friends aboard to play with us. I also think we'll have a bit of a candid discussion of what it means to share your multiplayer world with little kids. Due to an unfortunate corruption of my video files, this is going to be snippets in both still and motion. The original audio for most of the construction was unrecoverably lost, so you get to listen to me instead. I'm so sorry. In order for us to start our build, I think we should quickly look at how spawn works. Spawning into the game for the first time, or when dying without using a bed, will bring you into an area that is a 20 by 20 square. It's a little offset from the technical spawn point, but it's always somewhere close by that spawn point. There's an area further out around that, about 33 by 33 square, where non-admin can't build around spawn. Those areas are centered around spawn, however. So what we're going to do for our spawn area is pillar up at the center point, then mark out in a different color where the spawn borders are that will form the edges of our build. For any spawn build, keep in mind that you will spawn on top of buildings, not inside them. I found this out the hard way in one of my other worlds, where I built this beautiful modern house at spawn, and players ended up trapped on the roof. Your best bet for spawn building is an open air area that is simple but still beautiful. If you use doors in the inner 20 by 20 area, players who aren't admin on your server will not be able to open them, so use them only if you need them. We'll be putting doors in one area, mostly to protect the players from what I'm putting behind the doors until the safety can be verified to leave it open. We'll be using walls and gates right at the edges of the protected build area to help keep undesirable riffraff from walking in, but they should be operable by everyone. Other than phantoms, the spawn area will be as safe as I can make it, which also means I'll be lighting everything up just a little bit. For a more definitive description on how spawn works, check out the Gamepedia multiplayer spawn wiki page that will, of course, be linked in the description below. I'm using a combination of block placement and edit commands to fill in this space because making a spawn build on this kind of unleveled terrain is just going to be a royal pain in the arse. So, terraforming, here we come. Once we have the level of the spawn to where we need it, we'll look at blending into the surrounding plain structures so that it still looks as natural as possible. Edit commands come with their own set of issues, like not filling in where the grass is laying, so there are some pockets buried underneath of plain grass. Hopefully, the too high grass won't allow for mobs to spawn. World Edit is only a big brush tool for me. Filling in and smoothing to make a seamless and quote-unquote invisible alteration, block by block, will be most of the fun here. The World Edit commands are powerful, however, and save a lot of time in this kind of terraforming build. The image that you see on screen right now is from a file that was 100% completely removed file in the corruption of my recordings. The damage to my recordings ranges from mildly inconvenient to complete and utter loss. We are going to keep trucking, however, and I'll do my best to turn what I have into amazing and continuous content for y'all. My sweet, ever-loving husband could care less about how welcoming Spawn is, since he intends to spend as little time as possible there. But for this server, we are setting a strict rule for the little guy of survival mode only, which is tough when you're 6 years old. Having had a few worlds where we've left him with creative mode, we're enforcing this rule to prevent griefing, particularly of shared builds or the builds of friends. The little guy means well, but when you show up to the castle you built and find it and the local mountainside covered in an infinite amount of the vibrant vomit of buckets of liquid DNA from Binny's mods, or that he's broken your power supply and made a part of your base explode as a result, or, well, trust me, we have a list. We have left him with tons of creative worlds and his current personal favorite, flat worlds, available to him, as well as his own separate modded setup that allows him to play with a few of the train mods out there, since that's really his passion. He's an avid fan of making his own redstone contraptions, and as he learns how redstone works, they actually occasionally do real things, which is kind of fun as a parent to watch happen. He loves Minecraft, and we even had a Minecraft birthday party for his 6th birthday, including pin the TNT on the creeper. As a parent, though, you're looking at an adult playstyle versus a kid's playstyle, and in a shared world setting like Inhabit the Chasm world, boundaries and limitations have to be there so the world is fun for everyone. We're encouraging him to learn how to resource gather for his own projects and learn the recipes. And the toughest challenge of all, learning how to read so he can truly engage in the game independently. While we are enforcing rules, we're also going to try to give him the tools he needs to succeed. Dressing the spawn area is one of those tools. Building a small house for him fairly near spawn to start in is another, with limited supplies to get started. Without access to creative, his build should remain fairly non-invasive to the memory load of the server, so he can reside in the spawn chunks with minimal impact. There won't be a dirt pit with 1,000 creepers spawned into it right next to the train station I spent a few hours building, which was right next to the village my husband and I were fostering. Yes, also an actual example. Younger kids are not aware of the impact to others that some of their wilder ideas have. They lack the impulse control that says, "But how will this affect others?" Or they lack the knowledge of how their ideas in practice will destabilize the game for everyone. None of my little guy's griefing was to hurt anyone. It was just a good idea at the time. Or it was an accident he didn't know how to fix. The trick is balancing that youthful curiosity with a group of adults who expect their boundaries to be respected. While the solution we have may not be perfect, it's what we're going with. So, as we dance around the phantoms, there you have a completed spawn. It's quite lovely from way overhead, but we won't get to see it here for quite some time. We have here our infinite water source with, park seating. This was kind of joyful to build. It will turn into a wonderful meeting place for all of our server mates. And here we have a crafting area complete with anvil and crafting table. A little fishing area, and unfortunately this was part of the missing video, but we had a lot of fun trying to play with the fish, including keeping them where they're supposed to be. Hello, Mr. Enderman. As you can see, there are fish down in the bottom area, and I swear I didn't put them there. However, that's where they ended up. They seem to be swimming all sorts of places, and I imagine if we leave this alone for long enough, they'll end up all the way around. Anyway, this was like a fishing spot or something to casually enjoy. This we saw a fair amount of in the build. This is the entrance, which is currently sealed, to the portal to the Nether. I would like to make this usable for everyone so that spawn is also a good meeting place. However, there is a lot more work to do. I really like how this turned out, however. Just the feeling of it works for me. Yes, if you're reading that sign, that's very accurate. Our portal at spawn opens up into the hallway of another fortress. Sometime very soon, I'll have to show you that. The tiled grass makes me very happy too, and we've got flowers everywhere. And apparently chickens, I can hear you. It's a reasonable park, and it gives everybody just a little something to stabilize them when they first show up. If they go resource hunting in the nearby area, then they'll be able to do something with it. We'll just have to be careful, for the first little bit, to watch out for anything that comes out of the Nether. And I'd like to turn that underground area into something that is protecting the population from phantoms as well, which currently doesn't exist here. But you shouldn't spawn in the Nether room, which is wonderful. It can be like that. I'd like to thank you all for putting up with the craziness that is the damaged files and this lovely spawn that I had hoped so much for out of an episode. There is a bunch of footage that was pre-taped over the holidays, and some of it has now gone missing, so unfortunately, the next few episodes will have some funny gaps in them, shall we say. I'm working on it. However, I'd like to thank you all for hanging out with me. If you'd like what you've seen, please hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe while you're here if you want to see more. And I will see you next time. Please, everyone, take care of each other. Bye. See you next time.